Yeah,
but what I want to do, though, is I think it's time now to learn a little bit more about Carmela.
Yes, yes.
So if you could just now, part of your interest, or talk to us about why you're so interested in PTSD.
Well, it came from a different, I come from it from a different place. I'm not with the VA. I'm in private practice. And I received referrals from families. And the first veteran I met was from Vietnam. And when he came in, he exposed me to something that I was very surprised by. He was in the Rangers. And what he explained to me was during the Vietnam War, what they would do is they would go behind the enemy with piano wire. And they would kill them, and the blood would shoot all over him.
Oh,
and he was going into detail of what it felt like, the warmth of the blood. And my reaction was, my God, you must be happy to be out of there. And he looked at me and he said, no, I miss it. And then all of a sudden I realized there is a big problem here. And in working with him, I understood. He went into the military when he was 17. They trained him to be a killer, and he was a good killer. He was good at nothing else but killing. Then all of a sudden, he comes home, and they say, kill no more. There was no debriefing. There was nothing.
No retraining.
There was nothing.
Absolutely.
And he was just sent home.
So that was his only way of life. He had no other
skills, nothing.
He was good at it. That's
When you talk about marketable skills, but your story goes a little deeper than that.
Yes. So then what happened was, when the war in Iraq came out, I was very upset. I wanted to do something. I wanted people to understand how painful war can be. And my proposal was called United in Pain. I wanted to look at veterans from both sides of the war, not just American veterans, but both sides, in Japan, in Korea, etc. And I put together this proposal, and while I was doing it, I interviewed the families. And at that point, now I've been a clinician for like 25 years, and all of a sudden I decided to interview my father because he was in the Italian army. And as I'm listening to him, I realized he suffers from PTSD. And I realized that the way we lived at home, it's like we lived in a war zone. And it was like we lived in fear of his reaction. And it was difficult because he was really a loving, kind person. One moment. Then the other moment he would go off. And we would all be, I used to say, somebody forgot to tell him the war's over. And we were all his prisoners.
But with all due respect, then you can see how somebody may not even realize they're in that situation.
Oh,
if you're living it every day, I think you become absorbed into it, and that you become desensitized. Is that the proper word to use here? In the sense that you have no idea that this is happening to you. And you just react.
You have a new normal. It becomes a new normal.
Exactly. I thought this is the way it was. I never thought to put a diagnosis on it.
Well, and even if you did diagnose this, Carmela, if I'm tracking with you here, you wouldn't have diagnosed it until you were finished your clinical training.
But I finished my clinical training 25 years ago.
But that's because you look at yourself.
So
as a child,
you had no way.
As a child, you feel like it's your fault.
Right.
And as a child, you blame yourself. If I just do this, he'll be happy. If I just don't do this, he'll be happy. The problem was he didn't know what he wanted. Nothing made him happy. One day red would make him happy, the next day blue. And so there was no winning.
Now, divorce